Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. First off, my apologies for not getting a video out to you guys this past Saturday. My seizures were acting up this weekend, so I'm behind on everything, but it's all good now. So today we are going to learn how to make Keto Christmas Crinkle cookies. Try saying that 5 times fast. Crinkle cookies basically are kind of a mix between a cake and a cookie. They've got a little bit of a crusty outside, a little bit of a softer inside, and you cook them for a longer bit of time for the purpose of making the tops of the cookies crack or crinkle, so they have a crinkly cracked look on top. And so, if you want a printable version of this recipe, then check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links. A small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while we do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper and set them aside. In a large mixing bowl, combine 108 grams or around 15 tablespoons of coconut flour, 44 grams or around 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 216 grams or around 18 tablespoons of the granulated sweetener of your choice. I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. You can use whatever granulated sweetener you want. You can also use more or less depending on how sweet you want your cookies. 14 grams or about 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Sift or whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 4 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature, that way they stir in more smooth. Stir the eggs into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients have been moistened by the eggs. Add 206 milliliters or around 18 tablespoons of the neutral flavored oil of your choice. I'm using grapeseed oil. You can use whatever oil you want. And 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Stir everything all together until it's fully combined. Once the ingredients are combined all together, then give the dough an additional 20 to 30 second good stir to make sure everything is fully combined, and keep stirring until a smooth, very moist dough has formed. It's almost going to be the texture of a very thick brownie batter. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push the dough to the center of the bowl. Form the dough into a smooth ball. Then massage the dough for about 1 minute. This is just so that the coconut flour can start absorbing the extra moisture. After you've massaged the dough for about a minute, form the dough back into a ball and place it back into your mixing bowl. Then place the mixing bowl into the refrigerator and refrigerate the dough uncovered for about 5 minutes. This is just going to help firm your dough up a little bit so that it doesn't spread a lot when it's baking. This is a very moist dough, so you definitely want to chill it for a few minutes. Otherwise, your cookies will spread quite a bit. After about 5 minutes, remove the dough from the refrigerator, then massage the dough just for a few seconds just to test the texture. You want to make sure that you still have a good amount of moisture in the dough and that it's smooth. Then take a small portion of the dough and roll it around in your hands until it forms a smooth, tight ball. If the dough is coming together easily and easily forming a smooth ball, then you know that you have the right texture. If your dough is not holding together and it seems to be sticky, then you need to add a tiny bit more coconut flour. If it's not coming together and it seems to be crumbly, then you need to add just a tiny bit more oil or water. Once you have the right texture, scoop the dough out 1 tablespoon at a time onto your prepared baking sheets. Roll each scoop into a tight, smooth ball. Once the scoops are all rolled into smooth balls, set them aside for just a second and place about 120 grams or roughly around a half cup of allulose or powdered sweetener of your choice in a small bowl. Then take your dough balls one at a time and place them into the allulose or the powdered sweetener of your choice. And roll the dough balls around in the allulose or sweetener, whatever you're using, until the dough balls are fully coated with the allulose or the sweetener. Once they're fully coated with the allulose or whatever powdered sweetener you're using, place them back onto your baking sheet and space them about 2 inches apart. These do puff up and spread a little bit more than most coconut flour cookies do. Most coconut flours really don't spread very much, but because these contain a lot of oil in them, they do spread and puff up a little bit more. So make sure you do space these about 2 inches apart. Now, coating these with the allulose or the powdered sweetener before baking them is optional. It is ideal to get the best texture. What the allulose or the sweetener, whatever you're using, what it does is it helps absorb the outside moisture without drying out the inside of the cookie. So it creates a little bit of a crust on the outside of your cookie where you still have a softer inside. So if you don't use the allulose, then you'll most likely have a softer cookie and it won't have that nice crust on the outside that you're looking for that kind of helps the crinkle cookies to stand out from other cookies. They will still taste good even if you don't do it. It's up to you there. Once your dough balls have all been coated with the allulose or the powdered sweetener, if you're using that, and they're back on the baking sheet 2 inches apart, place them in your preheated oven and bake at 350 degrees for 12 to 14 minutes or until a tester comes out clean and tiny cracks have formed on the tops of your cookies. Once they're done baking, remove them from the oven. Now, if you're like me and you've used the allulose for your coating, you'll notice that the allulose has most likely been absorbed into your cookie. And then after it cools for a while, it'll have a nice little crust on the outside of it. If you have used any other sweetener other than the allulose for your coating, it may or may not absorb completely into the cookie. You may still have a crust of powdered sweetener on the outside of your cookie. That's fine. It's not going to affect the flavor. It's still going to taste really good and you're still going to have a very delicious cookie. It's just going to look a little bit different than mine does and have a little bit of a different texture than if you're using the allulose. But as I said, either way works both ways. So once you removed your cookies from the oven, immediately sprinkle it with some more allulose or powdered sweetener of your choice. Then allow it to cool in the pan for another 15 to 20 minutes so that the cookies can firm up and get a nice crust on the outside of them. After 20 minutes and your cookies have firmed up a bit, transfer them to a wire rack, and you can either leave them as they are and just allow them to cool completely just as they are, or after they've cooled for 20 minutes on the pan, you can take them off the pan and coat them with some more of the allulose or powdered sweetener of your choice. Now, if you do that, keep in mind that I am using allulose for my coatings. Allulose is only 70% as sweet to your taste as sugar or monk fruit sweetener or swerve or any other sweetener that is a 1-for-1 substitute for white sugar. So it is less sweet to your taste, so I can use quite a bit more of allulose without it becoming overpowering sweet. Also keep in mind that allulose that I'm using has no aftertaste and no cooling effect, unlike erythritol or monk fruit sweetener or some other sweetener. If you use erythritol-based sweeteners or other sweeteners that have aftertastes, the more powdered sweetener you use, the stronger the aftertaste is going to be and the stronger any cooling effect is going to be. Once your cookies have all cooled completely on the wire racks, you can eat them immediately. If you do have any leftovers, you can store the leftovers in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 5 days. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.